Okay, I think I finally got it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I'm trying to stream on YouTube and Instagram at the same time, and I think I finally figured it out. Like, what in the world? Okay, so anyway, I am Zokai, your badass coach, and this is the Sanctum After Dark, the Siren Hour, and tonight is a love letter to every woman who feels frozen in time, not always broken, but just pause like I was earlier today. Definitely on pause. But I'm here to show you how beauty, your beauty can be used as the spell to unlock your next chapter. Because you were never meant to stay stuck. You were meant to evolve gorgeously. Okay. And if this is already feeling like a message for your spirit, I want you to keep listening. And when it hits you, I want you to reserve your time for your complimentary Femi forecast. Okay, some people say Femi, some people say Fem, depending on what mood I'm in. I say it correctly, and then sometimes I don't. Okay, I want to take a glam pause right here because all of my sirens are always asking me, about my lippy when I do the lives, when they watch the lives. So I'm going to tell y'all my lippy. So tonight's lippy of choice is Fanfare by Mac. So it looks like this. Super cute. It came in one of those little kits, and I hardly ever wear it like I'm supposed to. But anyway. And then, I wanted to do a little lash action. However, I realized I didn't have the ones that I like, and the only ones I had was the ones that came, in the kit for your wig, and it looked like this. Who wearing it? I'm not about to wear this. Why did they make these so long? Like, this is crazy. But anyway, I hope that you have your notes, and I have mine. Okay, so we're going to get started. All right. Now, let's talk about how being in the stuck state is really an energetic fog. So we are emotionally and spiritually stalled after we go through, betrayals and big transitions, and some of those transitions look like divorce or having children or moving, relocating, changing religions, like all of those things that happen. Those are the transitions that happen when we feel like we have been betrayed or something very emotionally traumatizing happens to us, right? But let's start telling the truth about it. The truth is, the most high achieving, spiritually aware women will never admit this out loud, but when you going through that, you feel lazy, you feel unmotivated, you feel broken. But the truth is, you're not any of those things for real. You're just really in a fog. So after betrayal, and then you have the heartbreak, or you feel the burnout, the you start having like an identity crisis. Does anybody know what I'm talking about when I say that? Or you start having these spiritual awakenings, and then the body and spirit, instead of doing what you think is going to do, like put you in momentum and get you to the next level, what happens is you go into an energetic lockdown, and it's like, what the hell? But this is not to punish you, but it's really to protect you, right? And so your spirit goes into lockdown after getting flooded. But remember that even though you feel stuck, you're not stuck. You just, you're incapable of remembering the version of you that had the momentum because that version is gone. So it's like you can't even move if you want to because this version of you that's gone through the hard thing, that's going through the career collapse, the major life shift, that version is now stuck, almost like, um what's the stuff, not necessarily the quicksand, but that tar, and it's hard for you to move when you get in it, like you see it on the movies, and the people, they can't move, they can't get out of it, right? So it's almost like that. So it reminds me of when I was going through what I call my basement experience, because I was actually living in my parents' basement after a very, very hard divorce. Actually, we weren't even legally divorced yet. We were just going through the separation, and I was feeling all the things. And I felt like I didn't know what to do. I felt stuck. I was embarrassed. I was like, okay, what do I do next? Because the person who got married, she's gone. She doesn't even, I didn't even recognize that one. I don't know where she went. She left the building. And who walked in, who I was looking at in the mirror, was somebody I had no clue. I didn't recognize her. But I knew that that wasn't the version either. I was trying to start my next chapter, and I couldn't. I couldn't get out of the basement in my mind, or, literally. So I keep looking over here because I have Instagram going on my phone, and I'm hoping that I did it right. But for some reason, I don't know, I feel like I probably didn't. But anywho, we'll keep going and we'll find out later altogether, right? So it's in that moment when you realize, like, I am stuck and I don't know what to do, that most people start spiraling. Have you ever experienced that? Instead of you gaining the momentum that you wanted, you started going backwards and spiraling. You were unraveling at the seams and you were unhinged. You was just out of control, right? And you start thinking like, oh my God, I need more clarity. I need more info. I need a strategy. I need motivation. I think we've all said that. We've all felt like that before. Like, oh, I need this, I need that. But clarity doesn't always come through thinking, but it comes through remembering who you are, who that bad bit was before you entered this moment. This requires, I want you to listen and write this down. This requires ritual, not hustle. So many of us think like, oh, this is the point when I'm supposed to start hustling. I'm supposed to getting out and getting it, running around and getting it, all of that. But that's not. That's really the lie of productivity. Okay. It tells you that, oh, we're supposed to hustle, hustle, hustle so we can get out of this stuck place. But as I know, many of you listening are still like, but that didn't even work because I'm still stuck. I'm still in that space and I don't know how to get out. I'm being productive. I'm doing the things, but that's not what really works. Again, it's because you need ritual. But we live in a world that worships productivity, right? Don't we, ladies? And spiritual women know that sometimes stillness is divine preparation. We get nervous when things get still. But a real spiritual woman knows that's the time when you should be preparing. You're getting prepared to go through your next level, your next chapter, whatever that looks like or whatever, right? So it's divine preparation is what you should be doing when you get in a still place, or when you feel like you're in a stuck place, because that's an illusion as well. Being stuck is really an illusion. Now, what makes that stillness unbearable is really how we look. I know y'all are like, girl, no, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because stuck isn't about clarity, it's about identity. Like, you don't always, it's not always like a lack of direction, but that's a symptom of not recognizing the woman who needs to emerge. You've outgrown, the old stuff, but you haven't embodied the new yet. And so you're looking at yourself and you don't even like the way you look. I know so many women, myself included, when I went through my divorce, I looked and felt a mess. I had hormonal acne going on. I couldn't manage to get my hair together. Makeup, forget about it. And I'm somebody who I have a license in cosmetology for over 10 plus years. I've been a licensed makeup artist, all the things, right? All the certificates. But if you looked at me, it looked like I was a Raggedy Ann doll that somebody tossed into the trash. And that's what I felt like too. And so those things paralyze us and we can't move. And so this is why I don't coach from logic, but I coach from aesthetic energy. We don't understand how important it is and how what we see triggers certain things psychologically for us. I was about to say another word, but that word wouldn't come out. Because there is a whole psychology behind beauty and how we respond to beauty and what we see, right? And you can learn more about that inside of my blueprint program. But you don't need to fix yourself to move. I want to be clear about that. You need to beautify your energy. So you don't need no 10-step productivity hack, but you need a ritual. There's that word again, ritual. Now let's talk about how beauty is the breaker of chain. So the most underrated modality for healing and transformation on a woman's journey is beauty. Now, when I think about this, I want to talk about the story of Esther because this always comes up for me. And some of you know when I told my story about being stuck in the basement, when I would take these extra long baths, I would read the story of Esther. And so, Esther, before she went to, I'm gonna call it an audition to be the queen, she went through a period where some serious life transitions was happening for her. She had lost her parents, and then there was like some kind of war going on, if I recall correctly, and they were trying to like kill the Hebrews or whoever it was they was killing, because you know them people was always killing somebody and for no reason, right? And then so she had to lose the one person that she known her whole life, which was her uncle Mordecai. And then she goes into this palace, and they do like over a year of beauty regimen. And through getting these regimens done, it was a lot of oiling of the body, a lot of baths, a lot of perfuming, yourself and doing things to your hair. That became healing for her. It healed her so much that the king chose her. And she was able to go on and do some great things. So go ahead and read the story. It's really, really good. But I'm sure nobody ever thought that beauty would be the modality that would make those transformations that they made. Okay. Beauty is a medicine. And we don't think about it like that, but beauty is spiritual medicine because it's the reset button for our nervous system. Because our nervous system connects to our self worth. Think about it. When you're feeling um, frazzled and you just got a lot going on in life, what's the first thing most of us do? We can run to the spa. That's what I do. We go into the spa, we're getting a massage, we're getting facials, we're getting body treatments. Why? Because that resets our nervous system. And when you are stuck, your nervous system is in survival mode. So it doesn't support you in a way that makes you feel calm and makes you feel worthy and makes you feel secure. It actually does the opposite when you're stuck. You don't feel safe. And when you don't feel safe, you don't feel confident. If you don't have any confidence, you're not going to make any moves toward that next chapter you're trying to get to. You're just going to stay in a perpetual state of feeling stuck. You're going to stay in that illusion of being stuck, right? Um, so I want you to think about the most magnetic time in your life when you was attracting all the things. You were super magnetic. Things was coming to you easy. You was in flow. I want you to think about that moment. Take a few minutes and think about it. Notice how you felt. when you are in that state. You're very relaxed. When you are magnetic, you're relaxed because you're not worried about anything because everything is flowing the way that it should. Things are coming to you. You're not chasing, you're attracting. So that is how beauty connects to resetting our nervous system. And it triggers those feelings of being relaxed, being calm, and feeling safe, and making sure that we get that confidence. But we was taught what that beauty is shadow. Beauty rituals are shadow. But the priestesses in the ancient temples, they knew something different. They were adorning their bodies before the miracle happened, not after. So they knew something, right? They were like, oh no, we gotta reflect the frequency of what we're calling in before it gets there. Think about when they the coronation process for a queen, right? She goes through all of these steps of getting dressed, getting her hair done. She also goes through baths and, body preparation. And then she puts on, they help her put on that gown. And then she goes and walks in and they have the ceremony and then they crowned her, they put the crown on. And then they announce that you are now the queen of whatever, whatever. But she's already dressed like the queen before they even have the ceremony and crown her as queen. So I want you to get the connection. We adorn before the miracle. So think about when you wear lingerie. I know for me, when I wear lingerie, like under my clothes, it's not about impressing anybody else, but it's a gateway to remember who I am. And so all day you're walking around with a certain energy, whatever it is, whether it's you feeling sexy, you feeling sensual, you feeling powerful or confident, whatever that particular piece is giving you, nobody knows that it's underneath your clothes and it's giving you that. Nobody knows that but you, right? Okay. So the third point is movement starts to begin with visual reclamation. So let's go a little bit deeper. Your nervous system doesn't respond to affirmations. Sorry to bust your bubble. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. But, affirmations and journaling and all of that, that doesn't really do anything for your nervous system, honestly. But what happens is your nervous system responds to what it sees. So you keep looking the same, the eyes are going to tell the brain, oh, okay, let's repeat the same story because what we see is the same person. And then you get in a place of delay. Now everything is delayed. Your manifestations are delayed. Your recalibrations are delayed. Whatever you're trying to call in is delayed. Your next chapter, delayed. The next level, delayed. Because your eyes are seeing the same person. But I put these glasses on, you see something totally different now, right? And now my brain say, oh, who's that girl? Well, so what do we need to do for her? Because this is not the same as this one that we keep seeing all day. Now you can't call in your future. I wrote this down so you can write it down because I don't want to forget this. When Spirit gave me this, I was like, oh, this is juicy. You can't call in your future still echoing the past. You cannot call in your future still echoing the past. So one of the most profound activations is dressing like the woman who's already on the other side. My grandma used to always tell me, when you don't feel well, that's when you really pull out all the stops. You put your makeup on, you put on your cutest outfit, you do all of those things. Why? Because she knew that when you dress, the world rearranges for you. When you look better, you heal better. My grandma knew that. The ancient priestesses understood, you don't wait for the proof, you prepare for the arrival, right? So beauty was their way to summon the desired energy that they were going for. All right. So let's seal this thing all up. Beauty is not about appearance, it's about frequency. When you beautify your life, then you soften into power, and then you can start moving again, right? Which is ultimately what we want. We want to become unstuck and start moving again. So you don't need to feel ready. You can literally beautify your way into readiness. You know how people are like, oh, I'm not ready yet. I don't feel ready yet. You don't need to feel ready yet. Get pretty, get cute. Put yourself together. Prepare and look like the woman who's already on the other side of being ready. What does she look like? That's what you want to think about. Now, if you want support decoding what's been dimming you and blocking you and keeping your next chapter on pause, then you are definitely ready for the Fem forecast. This is a no charge energetic experience, and we're going to look at a couple of things. Okay, so some of the things we're going to look at, I got to look at my notes. We're going to look at hidden patterns that keep you stuck, because that's important. The version of you that's trying to rise, because we need to be clear about who she is so we can know what it is that we are attaining for. So we'll know when we get there and we'll be able to gauge if we're not there. And then we're going to have your badass briefing. And this is going to be a personalized pathway of what you can do to unlock her. Okay. And this is only for women who are ready to move again. If you still want to stay stuck, you still want to stay in the basement, this is not for you. If you're not really ready to become unstuck and get over your excuses, it's not for you. And it's no charge for a limited time because these are high touch, energetic appointments and they're very intimate calls. So I'm not going to be doing too many of them, okay? Now, if this is you, I want you to DM me forecast and reserve your call. All right. I don't want you to just think about your next chapter. I want you to look like her, live like her, let her in. All right. And I'll see you guys next Thursday at 7 p.m. for another Siren Hour. Have a good night, ladies.